You're back with Third Degree. Anene Booysen and Riva Steenkamp were from diametrically opposed backgrounds. One extremely poor, the other glamorous and on the verge of stardom. But violence against women knows no boundaries, and both women were allegedly attacked by someone they knew, their broken bodies adding to the devastating statistics that did not begin with Anene Booysen.
1999, Eerste River, Cape Town. 14-year-old schoolgirl Valencia Farmer is gang raped and stabbed 53 times, her throat slit. She crawls naked and wounded into the street. Like Anene, she manages to name her attackers before she dies 20 hours later. Once again, the heinous crime came in the wake of a spate of murders of children and gang rapes that horrified the country that year. People were enraged, turned violent. That was 14 years ago, and the aftermath, a mirror image of Anene's rape and murder, a country in shock. A nationwide anger and protests against sexual violence. It's 2001, Louisville in the Northern Cape. 9-month-old baby Tsepang is raped and sodomized. The baby girl needs life-saving surgery to survive. The suspect's girlfriend witnesses the crime and testifies against him. And once again, the case was the latest in a series of rapes of baby girls that left South Africans reeling in horror. What kind of men was this nation breeding? Something had to be done. It's now 2013. 17-year-old Anene Booysen, gang raped and disemboweled, she too names her attackers before she dies. A howl of protest once again, demands to rise and take action. Young Valencia Farmer, little baby Tsepang, Anene Booysen. On the very same day as each of these brutal rapes occurred, over 300 South African women suffered the same fate. Who remembers their names?
My fear is that next week we'll have moved on to the next thing, or that we'll be continually whipped into this frenzy about these very extreme cases.
And even as the name Anene Booysen was on everyone's lips, in the week that followed, there was more to come. 19-year-old Audrey Green was found raped, murdered, and stuffed into a drawer of her mother's flat in the Kraaifontein suburb of Cape Town. Her mother, who's deaf, was overcome with grief. Then, days later, 18-year-old Joanne van Skalkwyk found murdered, lying in the bushes in the Beacon Hill suburb of Atlantis. 360 women are raped every day in South Africa. That's more than an entire movie house, more than a primary school, and nearly all the players in the PSL League. It has to stop, but how? The question we all struggle to understand. Why do men rape?
I think one of the fundamental misconceptions about rape is that it's about sex. Rape is not about sex, it's about power, and it's about exerting power, often for somebody who feels entirely powerless in every other respect, over somebody, their behavior, the very essence of their being.
It's because it gives you a sense of domination. You dominate over someone, you suppress this person, you take away their voice, you take away their independence. So it makes you feel strong.
There's a lot about gender and sexuality that we don't discuss in South Africa. And when you put all of that together, I think it creates legitimacy for a violent culture, and obviously violent sexuality is part of that.
It comes from our own upbringing, our socialization, how most of us throughout the world were raised to believe that we are in control, we're in charge. From a very early age, you are told that you are the head of the family, you are the head of this society. So this is what the toxic notion of what it means to be a man has taught us throughout the age.
And how do we change attitudes?
Each person needs to take responsibility for the tiny bit of change that they can be. And so if that means talking to your children right now about what they're hearing, because they're hearing it, it's on the front page of the paper in graphic detail, they're listening to other people discussing it, they're hearing it on the radio. It's an opportunity for you to do your little bit.
We need to tell boys that it's okay to cry, it's okay to show your other side, so-called soft side. It's okay to accept no as a no. It's okay to know that you will not know anything. But also, it's okay to show that you are vulnerable, to show that you don't have answers to everything and anything. But also, it's important for us to continue to empower the girl child, so that the girl child remains affirmed, remains assertive, so that the girl child is able to say a no is a no in no uncertain terms, so that her no is not misinterpreted as a yes.
And it's easy to blame alcohol and drugs for the high levels of violent rape in our country.
Alcohol and drugs aren't the cause of rape. They simply facilitate behaviors that we're otherwise better at hiding. But the problem is those problematic sexualities are there. They're sitting under the surface.
And it's easy to blame poverty and unemployment.
Well, it may be true that the socio-economic status or reasons prevalent in our country may play a role, but that's not an excuse. We must say that there are instances where people are extremely poor, but that's not the reason to rape.
The problem lies far deeper than any one of these things. It lies in layer upon layer of our centuries-old patriarchal society.
Warp mentality of masculinity, it is here. It's where you're always told that don't show your vulnerability as a man. Do not show any sign of weaker emotions. The only side of your emotions which you are permitted, applauded, encouraged to show is that of aggression, that of anger, which unfortunately they manifest in such ways of brutality, of dehumanizing women.
Coming up, how do we make a difference?